Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello, Scott.
Josh, my friend, it seems like they're just mining every property under the sun at this point. There's Dexter's coming back. Why? Nobody knows, but you've got some details on some stuff. I wish I was more excited, but I was a Dexter fan, and I know how that stuff ended, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, this is what I'm excited for, Scott, because I was a kind of like a lapsed Dexter fan. I'd watched the first couple of series, then completely dropped off, but kept up with it just through like write-ups. But I know you
just watch the first four and then run.
Yes, the good ones. But yeah, Dexter it's coming back, man. It's coming back next year for a limited run of 10 episodes on Showtime. It has been confirmed to be going into production later this year, which is like a crazy turnaround. Normally when these revivals get announced, it's like years down the line, or like they're announced as soon as like the plans come together. But yeah, it's coming back 10 episodes in late 2021. Michael C. Hall, obviously played the title character, is the only returning cast member confirmed so far, but showrunner Clyde Phillips is also confirmed to be back and will be writing at least part of the 10 episodes, but overseeing the entire revival. And Clyde Phillips, if my information serves me correct, was essentially like the showrunner on the good seasons, was up until the end of season 4, dropped off, acted as a kind of consultant after that, and didn't really have much of...
Wasn't consulted very much, wasn't sort of brought in to be like, should Dexter drive a boat? Should Dexter kill his sister or die? And then should Dexter drive into a hurricane? And then just sort of, there's the thing with Dexter is, and I get that that's like, yeah, exactly. I get that the whole lumberjack ending. I know that that's big spoilers, but at this point, either you were a Dexter fan and you watched it through, or you heard about it anyway, because the end of that show is absolutely terrible. And a lot of people just wanted, obviously you had this show about this serial killer that was almost this Robin Hood sort of version of a serial killer, where it's like, well, he only kills the bad people. And it's like, at the time, it was a whole subject matter worth exploring. And Dexter was fascinating. Those first 4 seasons, especially 4 for me, the Trinity Killer stuff, is absolutely brilliant. But Season 8 was absolutely horrific. All the stuff that they did in the last couple of seasons with Deborah, his sister, realizing that she's in love with him, which they did a whole stupid... Jennifer Carpenter is a phenomenal actress as well, and they completely wasted her. Proper rant time for me. But, like, good lord, the end of Dexter. But anyway, the idea that they're going back to this reeks of Prison Break. The fact that they brought Prison Break back as well. It feels like this attempt to cash in on late 2000s Golden Age TV, or that sort of run where it was Prison Break 24, Heroes, and Lost. And like they were all week by week. They were some of the best shows that were coming out week to week. Like I said, 24 came back and was terrible. Prison Break came back and was terrible. Like, Heroes tried again and was terrible. And now Dexter is attempting to sort of get in there as well. I just can't believe it, JB. But at the same time, I can believe it entirely, and that's what's annoying.
Yeah. I don't know where I fall down on this idea, Scott, because on the one hand, yes, it very could just be them cashing in on like the name brand. Obviously, even though pretty much everyone universally panned the finale, there's still a lot of love for the property and the character in the world that the first few seasons built up. But if it was a cash grab, I would argue that they would have done it ages ago, you know what I mean? Like all the shows you mentioned there, Heroes, The X-Files, Prison Breaks came back like twice, X-Files came back twice, Will and Grace, stuff like that. All of those shows came out like mid-2010s, you know what I mean, or a few years ago. Now they all kind of had that revival boom, and I just feel like we're on the tail end of that now. Maybe we're not, maybe we're still very much in it, and I'm just kind of being blinded by ignorance, but it feels like we're on the tail end of it.
Yeah, no, you're all right. There's obviously merit in any sort of creative property trying to have another go around. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I like that Clyde Phillips is coming back, and I hope that at some point maybe he gets to do some sort of interview that says, look, I stepped away after, like you said, it's those first few seasons that are regarded as the best ones, the first 4, and he sort of stepped away. He was kept on as a consultant. The quality took a nosedive, especially in the last couple of seasons, and I wonder how much for him as the showrunner, like, what we don't know the reality of what, his literal, that consultancy role thing was. So maybe he was watching from the sidelines being like, this isn't what I wanted to do, this isn't how I would have ended it. And maybe over enough time, Michael C. Hall had cancer, he had to go through all of that and come back again. And it was great to see him come back as well. And I think that, maybe over a long enough time period, those conversations have started again, and there's enough, there's enough bankability in the Dexter IP that they can make something work. I can see there's a way for this where it works out, or at least there's a way that sort of addresses the fact that season 8 was a complete cop-out in regards to, anybody who wanted the show to sort of take a moral stand on Dexter or to give him give the show some sort of finality. We didn't get that at all. They did the total cop-out ending where Deborah was dead, he drove into the hurricane, and it was like, okay, I guess that's it. And then they did the whole scene where actually he's still alive with a big beard and now he's a lumberjack because we don't know. And at some point, I guess we're going to bring him back. So they are bringing him back, but you have to assume, or I have to assume, that they're actually going to have some sense of finality to this because his wife and kid, or at least his kid, and Hannah, the girl that he was with, are still out there. They, at the end of season 8, they were waiting for him to catch up to them, and he gets dovetailed off and goes to see Deborah instead, does the whole hurricane thing, and just abandons his kid and potential lover. So it's like, okay, I guess there's stuff there, but Yvonne Strahovski isn't coming back. She hasn't been signed on for it, so... Blah.
Well, we do have one, there's like barely, it's weird considering it's coming out next year. This press release is so light in information. We have like a single quote from the president of Showtime who said, quote, "We would only revisit this unique character if we could find a creative take that was truly worthy of the brilliant original series. Well, I am happy to report that Clyde Phillips and Michael C. Hall have found it. That's all. We don't know like any premise.
It took them 8 years.
We don't know what's going on.
But they've been looking for it.
Years to
They've
figure that out.
It.
But like you would presume that they are trying to go back, trying to give some sense of finality. It's only been announced as this 10 episode, I think they refer to it as a limited series, so unless it does really well and they get a bit greedy and want more seasons, like hopefully this is going to be like a 10 episode send-off. Can they achieve that in 10 episodes, judging on the backlash from season 8 and the finale in particular? Scott Telford, I do not know, but as like a Dexter fan, do you think there's like an appetite for this? Obviously, like the news blew up on Twitter and stuff, and I think people are eager to see it back in any form. But can they get worse than what happened?
Well, the thing is,
already, I mean, is there any negative in drudging this back up?
It's definitely all out morbid curiosity. It reminds me, like I said, of Prison Break, because I mean Prison Break ended with what's his face, Wentworth Miller, Michael Scofield killing himself to save everybody else, and then it was like, and we're bringing him back, and then they had to like write around that to sort of do another like season, and it feels so forced, and because of the amount of time that's elapsed, obviously it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel like you said, it doesn't feel like they. I don't know, for me, if they came back earlier, in a way that would line up more with, actually, we had this idea on the table and we couldn't do it and we want to do this now. The more time elapses and the more you kind of go back around out of nowhere and go, by the way, Dexter again, for me, that reads more like a cash grab. But I think it lines up more with my overall thoughts on just Hollywood regurgitating stuff, or most entertainment mediums regurgitating stuff, so that my reaction was, oh, okay. But to the same token, there was a marked downturn at the end of season 8, and I think a lot of people just love Michael C. Hall as a dude in real life, and to see him as Dexter, that you would just want to see him again. When he walks out in Game Night, which Game Night is a brilliant film, he's in that film when he walks out, and that was the first time I'd seen him on screen since he beat his diagnosis. I was so happy to see him that I think that there's a lot of goodwill around that actor and around the property. The earlier seasons, that it could sort of come together. Like I said, for me, it's firmly in the morbid curiosity stakes, but I guess I'll watch it. I guess I'll see how they explain Hurricane Deborah death. Sure.
Even like I said, as someone who only kept up with the show via synopsises and reports after the fact, because I was that interested in it. Like, even I'm excited about this, and I do think part of it is, like you said, Michael C. Hall is such a likable person and actor. Like, considering he has a tendency to play these big bastards, like there is certainly something to him, and I would watch him on screen in anything. Like he's great in the Bowie Lazarus show, but I'm getting completely off topic. I'm just gushing over this.
He's just a good
now,
dude, man.
I think you do make a good point. Like, nothing is dead anymore. Nothing can just like be finished. Everything gets rebooted or revived at some point, and especially in the TV landscape now, we're just in this sort of period where things constantly return, even when they have an ending, like the main character dying, that just gets retconned because there's more money to be made, and sometimes that does genuinely lead to some really great stories. Like, I would hold up Twin Peaks: The Return as like one of the best
Cobra Kai
shows of all time, not necessarily just a TV revival, and that might not have happened if this wave of TV revivals hadn't kicked off in the first place. So I do think there's some merit to it, and it can be done well. And with the original, series creator and showrunner back, that is promising. But again, it's totally morbid curiosity on my part, along with it.
Yeah, it is. Excuse me. Like I said, the only thing it makes me ask two questions. One, do they find a way to bring Deborah back because they could do some sort of wasn't even her body in the sack that got thrown in the water, and then you can bring Jennifer Carpenter back. And two, Lost is the only one that hasn't come back now because is that True. The only thing that they do where it's just sort of death march out everybody back to the island because we need to do another season of something? Because like I said, it all lines up with that late 2000s period where everybody was watching that series of shows, that grouping of shows. Week in, week out, and it was a hell of a time. And I think that if you were, an executive for some of these companies, you would want to try and replicate that, or have another go around on just how successful all those shows were at the same time. But all that said, Dexter very much ended 8 years ago, and it'll take a hell of a lot to be able to do something good with it. But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below. Were you a Dexter fan? Do you want to see more from it, or would you rather just let the property rest at the bottom of the ocean before driving into a hurricane? For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I mean, Josh from WhatCulture.com.
And we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.